Good. Hello everyone, this is Jeff Vogel at High Fashion Sewing Machines and Quilt Shop in Grand Junction, Colorado. This is a recording of the June 2021 FTCU Floriani Software Club, and today we're going to go through some of the new features in the build that have just been released. So I'm going to have you watch some of the videos from Trevor, and then we'll do some exercises together. So when you open up your software, you get this guy here. So we're going to visit the R&K Software Club. And I already had it open, so we're going to sign in and log on. Now, if you don't know if you have the most current version of the software, we're going to go to Updates. And when you go into this tab called Updates, go down to Floriani FTCU/Fusion. And the latest build was released June 12th, and it's 3776. So if you do not have that build number, you would hit download and install that. I've already done that for this purpose. So that would be the first thing to do. It could take about 30 minutes to an hour to proceed to get this whole process done. So once you do that, you can go into the blogs and the weekly video archive, so you could see the video archive. But today, since it has to do with the new software, we have a same tab, Updates, and we can go down and watch the update videos. So every time they do an update, there's videos related to all the new features of the software build. So we're going to click on that, and I want you to watch the very first one. It just has to do with Welcome to Build 3776. And then after that, there's all these different tools that came with it. We're going to play with the new Ripple Fill tool, and we're also going to scroll down here, the Advanced Auto Digitizing wizard. So that's a new wizard. So watch those two videos and then come back and watch the rest of my YouTube video here. So I am going to go ahead and get into my software. It is FTCU, and close this one up, and it'll give me a new workspace. Now, one thing to remember, every time you do an update, you're going to need to reset your preferences. So preferences are underneath this blue gear, and they're called Program Preferences. And I go through each tab. I actually have my preferences that I like printed out. So I'll go through those fairly quickly. So under Formats, I usually use a normal style. And since I have Baby Lock and Brother, and Bernina will now use PES 10 on their Plus models only. So that is the 880 Plus, the 790 Plus, and soon to be the 770 Plus. I also, when you've selected Baby Lock, you'll need to do an autosave format. So I also autosave it on the WAF format. Leave those the same. Now the environment, I like to use inches. I'll switch back to centimeters or millimeters when I need to. Auto save in 5 minutes. MS Paint, leave all those the same. So you want to, if you have this feature, I have certain extra software on this computer, so sometimes I have more boxes to check. So you want to check show warning for large satins, and that way you don't have a big loop. And that's all I do on this page. Under View, what you want to do is you want to see where it says Lock Properties in Sequence and Library Windows. I deselect that because I like my workspace different. So I'll deselect the lock and leave all those the same. Under Digitizing, I have Advanced, Standard, minimum distance 0.5. So under Grid, I have it at 0.5, and then horizontally, instead of 8, I like 4 and 4. That gives me 1/4 inches. I also have Show Grid as dashed lines, and I don't use any of these snap to grid or anything unless I'm doing some specific Digitizing. Auto based, leave that 5 or 6 millimeters. Color sort, leave that the same. Fonts, depending upon, every computer has different fonts, so this has to do with the fonts in the software only. So I have some favorites I have listed here. So preferences, go through those and make sure they're the way you like. If your workspace and stuff looks funny, then that's where you need to head. Also, on toolbars, this little tab up here that says toolbars, you will sometimes have to come down to workspaces, and if it's all messed up, like you lost your slow redraw or something, just hit reset workspaces. I have made some workspaces and I call it Jeff's Best, and that's the workspace I have. Is I got the properties here and the sequence view there. So now we're going to go through some of the new features. Let's do the ripple fill tool first. So I'm going to go up into my shapes, and we could do a circle or ellipse, but I'm going to go into the custom shapes and get a heart, because the heart seems to really give us a good differentiation on some of the features that would change. So the heart is 004, and then it comes in filled, so I deselect the fill box and hit apply. So now I have just a outline of a heart. Let's come down here to the stars. These are our fill options, and the new one we have is called a ripple fill. It kind of looks like a spiral in the middle of a star. So we're going to left click on that, and it will automatically fill that heart with concentric lines. So you have the option to change the size of those lines, the stitch length. So the density comes in at 2. I'm going to just change the density to 5 and show you what it does. There's 5. I'm going to hit apply. So now we have a whole bunch less lines. Now the other fun thing to play with is this gradient. Right now it's default at none. If we do a linear increasing and hit apply, it changes where they're at and how many is in there. That might be what you want to look at. The next one is linear decreasing, apply. So it's even fewer lines. Some of these, I really like the convex and concave, because this one's, if we had a few more densities in there, let's say at 3, you'll see the effect. And then if we do concave, apply, so you've got tighter here and narrower in the center. So let's leave it right there. You can play with repeats and offsets. You can actually turn some of those stitches into wonky stitches or even zigzag stitches. So just kind of play around with that. So that's just a single run. We can change this to a motif run. If we just do this, the default at 209, you're going to have a heart with all those little defaults there. The other thing I noticed that I have put my software on 0, 0. So my center of my workspace is a ruler 0 and the center is 0 on the left. You may notice that when you turn your new build on, it'll be zeros over here on the upper left corner, which, you know, just however way you like to have that run. So here's what it looks like under the workspace. If I hit 3D, that's what you have, and that's what the ripple effect will do. Now if I click on it again, and I don't like it that dense, I'm going to change this 3.0 to 5 and hit apply, because we chose a motif, so we don't need it as dense. So that might be the effect you like. Now what if we had it as none for the gradient and hit apply? Now they're going to be as even as possible. And now that's really, really full. Maybe that 3 is a good, oops, that's way too dense. I went the wrong way. So we're going to do 10 as a density, and this is what we get with 10. So it's a pretty cool effect. Now, what's really neat about this is just the center vanishing point. We actually can come up here to our shape tool, and there's a vanishing point blue dot right in the middle. If we grab that, pull it to one side and hit enter or right click, it takes that vanishing point down to a new place. So if I move it over here, hit enter, there's our new vanishing point. So the heart's going tunneling all the way to the right here. Really kind of cool effect. So I'm going to do it just a little bit off to the side. And I'm right clicking, but you can hit enter also to make this happen. So pretty cool effect as far as taking that vanishing point, putting it any place you want. So if we put it right up here one more time, and there you go. You got a heart that is growing up, tunneling upwards for you. And if I want this to center into my hoop, you just double click on the magnifying glass with the left clicker and you got it centered in there. So that's a pretty cool effect. Works great with letters too. Let's try some with some fonts. We're going to go to our red T and we're going to go into import TTF artwork. And I'm going to make this FTCU and I'm going to select the Arial font. And you really need to work with like a size 72 font. Otherwise, some of your stuff gets way too small. So I have Arial, bold, and then 72. And there we go. I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to select this heart that we made and just remove it. And then we have that little guy there. I'm going to remove the artwork. So we have FTCU. Now you actually can do the ripple effect on each one of these. So let's do the F. You can select them all and it'll ripple them separately, but I'll just ripple the F. And it always goes to the center point. So this ripple really doesn't have a lot of effect at this point. So let's go ahead to our shape tool, grab that blue dot, bring it down here to a vanishing point, and then hit enter. And you've got this F. And if density of 2 is too much, let's do 2.5, apply. And then you've got that. And you could do this for each one of the letters. Now, if I wanted to, I got artwork left here, but a lot of your software will not retain the artwork. You would have needed to, let's do it on the C. I'm going to select the C. I'm going to select the C. Oh, I have to hit, see what happens when your pointer doesn't do what you think it does? Go up here and hit the select key. So now we have the select, and I'm going to right click, copy, right click, paste. So there's two artworks right on top of each other. There's a C there and a C there. So I'm going to take the bottom C artwork, and I selected it, and I'm going to ripple effect it. I want to select my shape tool, grab that vanishing point, bring it there, and right click, and there's the C. And maybe that 2 is pretty tight. I'm going to make it 2.5 like the other one and apply. But the reason I wanted to show you this is, you know, you really can't tell what letter it is. So now I'm going to take that very first piece of artwork, and that's the C on top, and I'm just going to give it a fill. And now you're going to have the C showing on top and then your vanishing point going behind it. So that's a pretty cool way of doing it. You will have to, you'll have to do that copy and paste so you have 2 layers of artwork to do this effect at home. Because my version has a little different setup because I have some additional software that ties into it. So there you go. To learn to do this even more advanced with like a circle like the R, Trevor will show you how to do it on his videos. All right, so now let's get into the new Digitizing wizard. So I'm going to come up and get a new workspace, a little blue piece of paper with a dog ear on it. So that's a new workspace. It says design number 2. I'm coming up to my wizard hat, and here is our new auto digitizing wizard. It's kind of a purple cap. And what's going to happen is it's going to have us select a design to work with. So let's digitize. This is what Trevor did. So let's digitize this pony. So we're going to open it. And the wizard's going to open up. And this is the before and this is the after. So initial and the result. So we have basically 4 colors. We have a white background, we have brown, light brown, and a black. At this point, we don't want to change too many colors. The next step will let them merge together. So I'm going to keep it at 4 colors, and I'm going to go next. And then it's going to show me the changes, the after result. So give it a second. So right here, if we kind of like the way it looks, all the pieces and parts show it up. I probably won't mess with the tolerance level, but sometimes you'll be missing parts. Let's say you might have had a painted pony and some of the dots didn't come up. Go to the right with your tolerance and it will bring up more items. All right, so here is our list of colors. And I know I don't want white, because if I select this white here and say highlight the selection down here in this box, and if I do there, see, there's where that white is. So I'm going to remove him. And I'm going to remove that one. And I'm going to remove that one. Whoops, I double-clicked it. Because I don't want the background to fill. I just want the pony to go. Now, here's all the different parts. And this is actually stitching in a good order, because we're going to stitch the body first, and then we're going to stitch the tail and the hooves, and then we're going to stitch the eye. So if this eye, perchance, wasn't stitching in the right order, let's say he was stitching before the body. See, these little options right here, these little up-downs, change the stitch order. So he would be covered up. So I'm going to put the eyeball back to stitching last by clicking that arrow to the very bottom. And I'm going to hit next. Now, I'm going to outline it. One click, and it's going to outline all the different shapes. Even the eyeball is going to be outlined. This is just a basic run stitch. In your later, when you're editing it on the main board, you can change that run stitch to a motif, to steel, whatever you want. And then you could add a border. So this border, just same thing. You can change the border. Right here, you can change the distance, though. So if you don't want the distance that close, you could make it 0.5 inches away. And now this is the finished product, and it looks pretty good. We're going to finish it, and we'll put it into our workspace. And now when you click off of the area, you can see that that is all of our pony that we've digitized. Put it in 3D. Here's what it's going to look like. So if you like the direction the stitch is going to, leave it. You could always use your stitch tool and change the inclination of that stitch, the angle it stitches at. But let's just say I don't like the outline. I want the outline to be like a double bean or something like that. So I'm going to select the outline. It's over here in blue. And right now it's a single run. So I'm going to do a double run and hit apply. So that's going to make that outline a little more bold. And here's something that's really cool. I am going to hit copy. That 2 little pieces of paper is a copy. So guess what? If I just wanted to do a little outline, let's say on a baby onesie, so it's not really, really dense, you could just do a little outline of that guy. So anything you digitize, you do an outline, then you can just save the outline or silhouette of it. I'm seeing this application on a lot of fun things I'm going to do in the future. So that new digitizing wizard is still automatic, but it gives you some controls that you haven't had in the past. And I think it's the next great step for auto digitizing. So what happens if I wanted to put that outline? Well, there's an outline there because I copied it. So I could just right-click on this and hit copy. You'll see where I'm going with this. And then I could delete this just by hitting the delete key. And now I can just open a new workspace, and I will just go ahead and paste that outline of that pony right in the middle, and not too difficult. That little black spot there is actually a stopping point. So if I wanted to see how this stitched, I'll just drag this across, and there's my pony stitching out, and voila. And see my cursor, it's got a little clock to it. That means I need to go select the select tool, and now I've got a normal cursor again. Now, if you wanted to do that outline in a couple different colors, Trevor showed me some neat trick here. We actually can use the stop option. So if I start stitching, and it's stitching, and I want to stop right there. All right, and then I'm watching again, and I'm going to want to stop when it does the tail. Oops, so I stopped right there. That gives me additional pieces that I can recolor. So if I wanted to take this first color here and make him a different color outline, let's make it to where you can really kind of see some difference here. Let's do a bright pink. All right, so let's do a 3D. So look at there, you've got this part bright pink and the rest of them in the different colors. And this one's a different section now too. We actually can do that section in a different color also. And since it's a stitch, we don't have all, well, we kind of broke it apart. But I picked the run stitch. I'm going to pick this guy again. I don't have any tools available down there to change it. But this guy here, I actually could make a fill. So if I want to fill it back up, I could do a fill stitch. And there we go. We got part outline and part fill. So this new tool just gives you a whole bunch of different options on how you can break up a piece of artwork without having to click, click, click all the way around it. So thanks for watching. This is Jeff at High Fashion Sewing at Grand Junction. Please subscribe to my YouTube station and channel, Bernina Jeff. And I do have a Shopify account with a lot of cool sewing gadgets that you really can't find anywhere else. That Shopify account is bernina-jeff.myshopify.com, and over $50 is free shipping, so pretty good deals there. Thank you very much. Or if you just want to chat, call the shop at 970-256-1293.